Yesterday I went outside and I cried. So what am I doing crying? It's just a language. But what is just a language? You know, our connection to our culture is through our language.
I always envy people that can talk my language so fluently that it sing-song. It's like it's musical that it's beautiful to listen to. I hear it once in a while, but I don't see it no more.
I see it dying, you know, and I see something wrong, and I'd like to help, but how? How can I help something that I don't know about, you know, enough myself?
Back when I was growing up, silence was the thing we lived with. It was peaceful. We're at peace. Sometimes all you heard in the house was just a clock ticking, and that was okay. They don't have to chatter about non-important things. So good concept na puchlan good na na pucht kina kalut. Kailun lit nuakam kimin puchlal tajamak.
We learned by observing. We didn't have a book to look at. There's no instructions in a book how to do whatever. Our instructions, a way of learning, was watching our parents and our elders.
Elders and watching the world around us, really. I don't know, it was like, I guess we didn't have, you know, we didn't have TV, we didn't have radio and stuff, so we didn't know we were missing anything. It was like, this was all we had, this is what we had, so this was what we made the most of. It was like, you know, we'd be learning church songs, we'd be learning, you know, we'd use our language almost on a daily basis if we weren't in school.
White people come to Nandolik when they speak to us. We were just 4 or 5 years old, and only one girl, Simeon's sister, spoke English a little. There's a watchman, white man, during the summertime came up and asked us, we were eating wild celery, and he said, "Oh, what you girls eating?" We didn't know what to name him. We told her, Simeon's sister Jenny, tell him what they are. She said, "Oh, it's just we're eating cotton cabbage."
The reason why our language is, some of it, I mean, it's fading is because the cannery crew, they talk to us in their language, you know, in English, and the kids, they talk to the kids, and some would answer in English, broken English, you know, and there's some white people would make fun of us, you know.
Do you remember the first time you had to speak English?
Yeah, and I had a hard time speaking it because I didn't know much English.
Yeah, we didn't know it. It's just something that one day we're home, the children speaking Alutiiq or Sugt'estun, and next thing we knew we were in school, and there were books handed to us, and you have to speak English.
Let me tell you why that native language Sugt'estun stopped. BIA teachers, they stopped that. when they speak it in the school, put soap in their mouth and spank them. That's why they got scared and they cut the language off. They did.
I guess I spoke in Aleut. So the teacher, she let me stand in front of class. And she gave me a toothbrush and soap. Well, not the soap. Let me brush my teeth with that soap. Oh boy, that was awful taste.
I had to write 100 times on a blackboard that I'm not going to speak it.
I spoke nothing but Sugt'estun. And when I went to school, I didn't even know how to say hi. I didn't know how to say hello. Every time I said Chamai, the teacher would just walk away from me. And I'm like, what's wrong with her?
You know, there was a thing statewide where I think those people who made these decisions, BIA territorial school, then when the state took over, that one way to kill a culture and to assimilate them into the Western way was to start out with killing the language, take them away from their villages, put them in boarding schools. But the Western culture coming in saying, I don't like that, I don't like that. Don't do that anymore. I don't understand it, so it must be evil, and you know, I'm gonna wrench it out of you.
I remember having one teacher I was sitting there thinking about it. I wanted to make sure I had the answer right. He said, you are hopeless. You'll never learn. Didn't give me a chance to answer. It was kind of like I had to think about it.
Translate it in your mind.
Yeah, I got to sit there and I got to hash it out in my head. I want to come up with a good answer. They give up on you before you even come up with an answer and make you feel small, and then you don't even want to, participate.
Yeah.
When we were learning Dick and Jane in school, where first grade, a put down where they realized that or not was that you talk like you're chopping wood. I, or see spot run.
Sometimes she'd take me in the bathroom and paddle me with a ruler. To me, in my language, it was just a big stick. And when my kids were born, I didn't want my kids to be spanked. I didn't want them to be degraded. I felt like I was being degraded. So I taught them just English. Now they don't understand me.
I think when they decided to speak the Aleut was when I started teaching in school. I started the writing system with a guy named Jeff Lear. He works in Fairbanks. So I went to school here in Port Grant for about 8 weeks to learn how to read and write. And that's how teaching language started.
I remember probably first and second grade, my introduction to Sugt'estun Alutiiq language. We had reading strips that they had little players, and they would record the Sugt'estun phrase on there, and they would write it in English on the top and in Sugt'estun on the bottom, and if you had difficulty, you could run them to the slider. They used to do that. That was my first time speaking Sugt'estun. My mom said I was fluent as a child, as a baby. She would talk, we would exchange back and forth. I've since lost it. I know a few words, few phrases. I admire it. I really do. I would love it if the children, spoke more of it.
Just before the oil spill, 4 months before the oil spill, I started. They had me teaching Sugt'estun. 1 week's time, my hair was turning gray. Remember? 1 week's time, my hair was turning gray. No kidding. I had a hard time trying to children listen or obey, sit still. So they did not want to learn. Just maybe 2 or 3 children would be sitting there till they catch up.
And that's the problem too we have sometimes too, is some of the elders don't want to come, and that's some of the problems we have. Trying to invite them and interact with the kids. I don't know why, I think maybe they're just self-conscious, or I'm not sure. Why is our language and our culture important to us?
So we can talk to our ammas and appas.
What about you, Agyak?
And teach other people.
Yeah, teach other people who want to know.
So when you grow up, you can teach the children.
Yeah, your own children. Good one, Agyak. Yeah, you important for us to learn so we can teach our own kids.
I'd love to teach immersion because I can speak fluently, but that would just stay in the school. It wouldn't, even if they took it home, they wouldn't be able to study with their parents because the parents can't speak it. It's going to be so hard. We got to teach the adults first.
To me, I think it's going to fade because these younger kids, they're not into speaking but English.
Do you use it, Sam?
Not really. I wouldn't know enough to speak it, so.
With your dad, do you?
Not really.
How about you, Jacob?
I know just a couple of words, you know, here and there. I could barely understand them. Yeah, they talk a little too fast.
I'm not sure. There's not a whole lot of people that speak it, so. Not a whole lot of people left that speak it. So.
It's mostly the elders.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Jacob? Then how do you feel about that?
I don't know. It just might not be there a while. Might just disappear. And that's all. 14. Corn.
Our culture was what got us through thousands and thousands of years before, you know, pre-contact, whether it was with the Russians or after them with the United States government, that our way, our language, our culture, traditions, there was nothing wrong with them. They're just different. And we're sitting right in the middle right now of trying to say, no, we're not going to be assimilated. We're gonna try to get our language revived back.
It's kind of like everybody has to sit down and start just speak, and that's all there is to it. Everybody has to sit down and start visiting each other again, and you know, that's the only way you're gonna do it.
You know how I've learned to do it? When I meet up with anybody, if I know they can understand me, I always start off, Alutiiq suki olak niulan ka, shmuchnak to mi maliach shanga Alutiiq olak. They do.
Respond back.
Uh-huh. If Alutiiq. Nama. O tuyok ka.
Kami ni Kachemak. Flippers.
Who's got flippers?
See lines out there behind Wakandam.
No,
it's dead already. Eagles eating. Still good.
What's looking in Takot?
No, still.
Tagogan.
Yeah, didn't smell it.
Hey, Takoy narusim kakot. Narusim kakot at aksekogok. Akwatun ka. Oh boy. Una Saska Pilaka. I tell this man, Alex Moonen, we call him Saska, he needs to have his language, our language recorded, because there's words that he uses that we don't use on a daily basis. I think if we don't hear him very often, we're going to just lose him.
You speak Sugt'estun? No, I don't. Only like little words I understand, but no. I really wish I did. I wish my mom taught me how. But when I have my kids, I'm going to tell her to teach them how. Like when they're really little, talk to them in Aleut, in our Sugt'estun language, so they could understand.
Who's going to teach them?
Who's going to teach them? My mom. We actually told her.
Well, if we keep talking with the people from here in our language, maybe that could slide along. Not to hurry them, just talk to them slow, maybe. That way maybe it'll just hop along. And maybe they'll start talking to us in our language that way, if we just talk to them slow.
Get young and old people alike together. While we're talking things over at the same time, they'll pick up and learn from the elders. That way we don't have to teach too much.
You know, in the classroom environment, it's hard for an elder to teach kids that way in a structured environment. When they were taught, you know, like them, that's how they want to teach. They want to teach you follow me around and teach you how to cut the fish, what it's named, you know, what it's called after it comes out of the smokehouse, what it's called when you prepare it, you know, and then they would learn that way.
I don't want to lose our language, our culture. I'm so proud of my daughters here, Vivian and her. They still make dry fish and smoked salmon. They keep on making native stuff, Alutiiq stuff. I like that. I'm proud of it.
Walter, let me ask you a question. If you could dream about this village in the future, what would your dream be about your language and the village?
That everybody understood the language. Everybody understood the language, and everybody we became a community again.
We have no longer an identity. We're just a dying race, and it's just a, how do we say goodbye gracefully? It's more so as, you know, how do we hang on to what we have? It's just how do we say goodbye gracefully now?
I think for our people, they need a language to be grounded to our culture. Know who you are. Otherwise, you have a spirit out there that's not at peace. It's inside you or out around you. To be really grounded, I think you need your language. Be who you are, what you are. That's how important I think our language is.
What was my idea when I started this? My idea was to find a language. And I've gone, the further along we go, the meaning for the whole thing is turning around to where it's not just finding the language, it's trying to find a way to build it up, I think. I don't know. It'll change tomorrow too. Because every day every day it's a different thing for me. It's a different meaning. Like yesterday I went outside and I cried. So what am I doing crying? It's just a language. But what is just a language? Am I ready to bury it? Are we ready to bury it? Or can we revive it? That's just too hard to think about and just worry and wonder.
In the original way that kids would have learned, where they were with their parents 24 hours a day. You know, their learning was in the house with their working environment, playing. That's where they learned it.
And the last one, Walter, you need your language to be grounded. Which ones were effective to you?
Me?
I wrote one.
This is Zirgus Moonen in Port Graham, Alaska, November 2nd, 1984. And he will be telling a story in Alutiiq, or a number of stories about Iwanturuk John the Fool.
Kwa Iwanturam uni kwa litlaka atam. Iwanturak kung chimalgal singumak awatini nannam. Nami sugum tkiji malugu. Bimalugu ingahtau chumlugu kinak kaspuk takaktakwek kauluni. Igau maluni Iwanturam idaklukutai.
I think this will be good too. It'll be like talking to a baby in the belly. Like we're talking to people in this movie. Maybe they'll hear it behind the screen, just like they're in the belly. Ima utaka luko. Iya kan laglin na pataya.